Yes, everybody, welcome to Full Time Devils. This is a match preview. Oh my God, how long has that been? Joined by Karl, joined by Ricky, and we're going to be talking United and Tottenham for Friday night's Premier League match. It's been over 100 days. That's bananas, isn't it? That's absolutely wild. Football's back. Have you lads had a chance to watch any of the Premier League this week? What's your thoughts on it? Ricky, let's start with you, mate.
Yeah, Joe, I actually really enjoyed it. It's quite funny because obviously when it was built up in terms of there not being much atmosphere around the stadiums and maybe the lack of coverage we've had when we've watched the Bundesliga, maybe it's just a case that obviously we have a keen interest in the Premier League because we support Premier League clubs. That I was really surprised by just how excited I was last night watching the football coming back. And to be fair, I actually quite enjoyed being able to hear the players, being able to hear the coaches on the pitch. So for me, was a real positive experience to have that back, and of course seeing Arsenal get stuffed as a Tottenham fan, that always makes me feel happy. So I've actually been quite pleased by the way it's returned, and obviously buzzing now for this game against you guys on Friday night.
Did you watch it with the sound off then? Because I watched it with virtual sound. I thought that was all right, you know.
So I watched it with just the standard with just you can hear the coaches and hear the players. I didn't have the added crowd noise. I know that's an option that Sky have obviously got there in place, but I actually quite enjoyed being able to hear the players being spoken to by the coaches in terms of the motivational techniques they were using and how they're trying to really G the players up and hearing other players on the pitch. So it's quite insightful being able to hear this kind of, conversations that we won't be able to hear when fans are back in that stadium. So I'm going to try and enjoy it as much as I can. Of course, it's not the same about the fans being there. But, who knows what to expect. We've just got to deal with the game we've been given back, I suppose.
Karl, what was your thoughts? Did it feel any different to you watching Premier League with no fans, or did it feel exactly the same as Bundesliga?
Yeah, it's weird, mate. It definitely had that feel of like pre-season friendly vibe to it. I think the intensity wasn't there, was it really? But like you say, going back to the Bundesliga, like they started exactly the same, and then they started getting into the groove a little bit now, and it's a bit more sharper and a bit more quicker and stuff. So a bit more like an in-season game. So hopefully that obviously resonates to the Premier League. I actually did half and half. So I watched the first half with crowd noise, and I watched the second half without it just to see which one I preferred. And the crowd noises that Sky Sports have got are awful. They're terrible. The BT Sports ones are well better than Sky Sports ones. So because I enjoyed it with the Bundesliga, but I didn't really enjoy it that much with the Premier League. I preferred, like Ricky, watching the players and hearing the coaches and stuff. But yeah, hopefully, the intensity gets turned up over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, two games this week or something we've got now. So,
well, yeah.
The match should come soon enough.
The on the noise, I was flicking in between them, and I think I was saying I prefer with the noise, even though it's a little bit delayed for the shots and stuff like that. I think it still adds something. It takes you out of the. I'm very aware of the echoes and stuff like that when they haven't got the noise on, and I don't like it. So I think I'll probably continue to keep it on with the artificial noise, I reckon. Jose Mourinho then unites United and Tottenham in a way that's never really happened in the past. You weren't having a good run of it before shutdown. So what do you reckon, Ricky? Has he got it in him to turn it round? I guess we restart form now again, don't we?
We do. It's crazy because, I think everyone knows, previous to the lockdown and COVID-19, our form just completely fell off a cliff. Obviously, we had that period where we were...
attack. Do you reckon he was like walking into getting sacked?
I don't think so because, when you sack Pochettino and you give him a huge amount of compensation, I don't think you do that and not give Jose Mourinho at least a summer to really put his stamp on the team. And I think you have to bear in mind that he had one transfer window, a January transfer window, which, as you chaps know, January is not the easiest time to bring players in. And I think, you've got to give the man at least a summer to really try and repair some of the damage done. Spurs were always going to need a rebuild. That would have been regardless if Pochettino stayed or if he had moved on. So for me, Mourinho, at times during this last kind of 4 or 5 months of his initial period, yes, there's been times where for me I've had a concern in terms of the style of football and his management of certain players. You guys have seen what he's like in terms of management of players. I'm sure you'll push the Paul Pogba. Obviously, I'll bring it up with Tungi and Dembele. But I think he's very, very keen to prove a lot of people wrong. Maybe United fans, maybe other previous fans that maybe feel that he's just got the job based on his CV. But I think he deserves a full chance to get the best out of the group he's got. And I don't think he's had that yet. I think when you lose Bergwijn, you lose Sissoko, you lose Kane, you lose Son in the space of, 2 or 3 months, that's pretty much a lot of your core attacking players gone. So it would have always been very difficult for Tottenham, I think, to be able to sustain a challenge for the top four if you're going to lose all those players. So now we have got the majority of our squad back. I'm reasonably confident, more than what I was before, that we can have a really strong finish to the season. If that's good enough for Champions League, I'm not sure. I'm sure, like you guys, I'm just hoping Man City's ban is upheld. That would help us sneak into 5th. That's why I see Spurs finishing and nick a Champions League spot, which if you told me that after Pochettino was sacked, I would have probably said you're crazy, because I know the league was still tight, but Tottenham as a club we were just so divided. And it was such a shame because we loved Pochettino, but I felt it reached that kind of natural expiry because of the nature that we didn't get that trophy.
Karl, any regrets at Jose leaving?
No, mate.
Yeah,
no.
me either.
Next. Yeah, no, not one, mate. I think when Jose's, last month or two at the club, where it was horrendous, wasn't it? So the only option was for him to go. And I don't think we really came on under Jose enough either. Sometimes it was just absolutely diabolical, the football, watching it. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, no, there was no regrets. Not one, mate. I can't even think of anything. Not one, mate.
Nothing. Literally nothing. Absolutely nothing. You couldn't make me to bring him back at all. Right. Ricky, as a Tottenham fan, let's hear what you think in terms of your starting 11.
Yep. So, I mean, again, we've been quite lucky where my team now would be completely different to what it would have been, before COVID, before the lockdown, because of the injuries we had. So I'm going to go with Hugo Lloris in goal. I'm going to go left back Ben Davies. Ben Davies is one of those players that I think he gets a bit of an unfair rep. Yes, he's not the quickest, but he is reliable and dependable as a left back. I'm then going to go a centre back pairing of Toby Alderweireld and Davinson Sanchez. And then at right back, it's a case of Tottenham as who is the least worst option. So I'm going to go with Serge Aurier, which I know you guys are linked with him. So I would just stay well clear if you possibly can of Serge Aurier. Midfield for Tottenham, I think it seems apparent that Giovanni Lo Celso is going to be missing out of the game, which is a massive blow to Tottenham in terms of our creative midfield. So I'm going to go with Sissoko and Winks as that midfield pairing. I'm going to come back to the rest of that midfield once I've filled in my attack. So I'm going to go up top with Harry Kane, and then a free with Steven Bergwijn, Heung-min Son, and Lucas Moura. So that leaves me with 1 free midfield spot. And I think, again, debatable who I'd give this to. I am going to give it to Lucas Moura. I think he's a player that, I know he causes a lot of frustration amongst Tottenham fans. He scored that wonderful hat-trick, don't get me wrong, in Ajax. And, we always love Lucas Moura as a player because of that hat-trick. But for me, he's got to show a lot more in terms of his consistency. And Jose Mourinho seems a massive, massive fan of him. So for me, yeah, I'll probably stick Lucas Moura. And that's my 11 to face United.
What do you reckon, Karl? Are you lining up? What formation first, actually? Because I think we've got about 4 on the table.
4-2-3-1. I must add Tottenham. 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, I'd probably say we'd go with 4-2-3-1. Safety first, I think, and I think you probably start with De Gea in goal, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think Shaw will start at left back just for experience wise. I'd love Brandon to come in and do the job again. I reckon Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire will be the centre half. I love Eric Bailly, by the way, mate. Anyone with a little bit of shithousery about him, mate, he's straight in. So, yeah, Bailly to partner Maguire. And I think, big calls, I think Matic and probably Pogba. I hope so, anyway. That's what I want to see. And then Bruno as a 10, or either or. So Pogba, Bruno could easily swap there. And then I reckon we see James, Rashford, and Martial. I reckon maybe it could Fred's in with a shout, but I think Matic will just give us that little bit more of a. If he is going to start Pogba and Bruno in that midfield, I think Matic is the better option because he's better defensively than Fred and McTominay. But if Pogba doesn't start, I think you'll see Fred instead of Pogba, etc. But there's options there, and that's one thing we haven't had in a long time in midfield. And it's nice to have a little bit of depth in that midfield where we're scrapping around, like playing Jesse Lingard in every sort of position, wide, centre midfield, you know what I mean? 10. It's just nice to have that option. So, and it's different where, I was saying this in the video that I did today, it's if Paul Pogba doesn't come straight in if the season never stopped. So if you've got a fit Paul Pogba and we're still winning games, it's a different story. I think he has to sort of fight for his place a little bit more. But because no one knows what's going to happen after obviously the coronavirus break, it's a lot easier to get in. Does that make sense? So I think seeing Pogba Bruno is a strong possibility.
Yeah, I think in terms of the flexibility, I totally agree. We've been sitting here today trying to make different formations, and you can make a case for a back three. You can make a case for 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, even a 4-4-2 diamond. And I'm leaning more towards a 4-3-3, but I also think the diamond could be really useful against Jose, because I think it would pack our midfield out a little bit. And if you see the diamond, you're going to see Williams over Shaw, or you should. And if you go to the back three, you'd probably see Shaw. I've gone with 4-3-3 though as my prediction. And hearing that, I've gone with Lindelof and Maguire. I think, yes, I prefer Bay as a centre half, and yes, technically he's fit, whatever that means for Eric Bailly for now. But I think you go with as much of what was working pre-shutdown as you can. And I've kind of gone with Shaw and Wan-Bissaka for those reasons. I've gone with McTominay in the 6 alongside Fred, who's like a 6/8, and I've gone with Bruno. And with us having 5 subs, Pogba off the bench, because he did mention about how many minutes each could play today. I think Pogba off the bench is the move. And I've gone Greenwood, Martial, and Rashford. Dan James as an impact sub, Pogba as an impact sub. I think that's, and obviously Gallo potentially as an impact sub. And he's still got 2 more subs. So I feel like that might be the way to go. I think it's going to be very interesting. Don't put it past Jose doing something crazy with subs because he's got the option to.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be very interesting to see how people do utilise the extra substitutions, because it is a card you can play. You can get your starting 11 wrong and make a sub in 10 minutes and try and fix something that you're noticing before waiting to half time. You can do that, providing you're not going to try and substitute someone who's going to see their ass. So, yeah, I reckon that's how we're going to rock and roll. I think obviously Bruno's going to be the key player in this to watch. But I'd also have a sneaky suspicion that Marcus Rashford is going to play a big part in this. Ricky, give us your insight into how you think this is going to go down. You're saying that obviously you've got the likes of Harry Kane, who's now been said he's probably going to start. What's going to be different in this game, do you think, than the 6 games prior to shutdown? I think you won 1, or was it draws and losses?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't think, we're winless in the last 5. I mean, I hope you understand, chaps. I tried to forget the last 4 or 5 results because they were just so horrific. I think from a Spurs perspective, it's difficult to know how Josie will play this. My biggest concern, it's again good to get your insight into it, because I think the reverse fixture where you guys won that game, I think a lot was built up in terms of, Mourinho coming back to Man United, and it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first real test against Mourinho. I was really disappointed by how Tottenham approached that game, almost sitting back off United. And I think Spurs have got a team now where I think man for man, we could take United on. I do genuinely believe that. Don't get me wrong, got some world-class stars, but at the time you guys weren't really gelling or clicking. And I was really frustrated that Tottenham did not approach that game with a real intensity to go and win the game at United. It's almost like we accepted that we were coming there to play for a point, or, coming there to not get beat. And as a Tottenham fan, the way this team have come on over the last couple of years, we should now be going to Old Trafford, believing in ourselves we can get a result. And that's what I haven't seen enough in terms of Jose Mourinho approaching the big fixtures, the likes of Liverpool, the likes of yourselves, the likes of City. And that really does worry me. So I would like to think Mourinho now, with pretty much the majority of his options back, having Harry Kane available to him, I want to think Mourinho will approach this from an attacking perspective. But difficult to know, Mourinho, how he'll approach it. I mean, if it's me speaking as a fan, I want to see Spurs go at United from minute 1. But if I remember the Jose Mourinho of the last couple of months, I think he'll be satisfied to allow United to have the ball, for Spurs to not heavy press, but give United the main share of possession and try and play on the counter-attack. And Spurs can do that because they've got the likes of Heung-min Son, they've got the likes of Lucas Moura, they've got the likes of Sissoko bursting through the middle. But I've said kind of from day one on my own pod that I think the game's going to probably end up being 1-1, which isn't good enough for Tottenham, really. For United, I think it's a terrible result because it still keeps a respectable gap between the two clubs. But I think if Tottenham have really got aspirations of getting into that top four, if they, if top five is not going to be enough, bearing in mind what happened with City's ban, a point's not a great result. So I do see it being a 1-1, as much as a disappointment that would be for me. I just don't see Spurs starting fast because of the nature of that Mourinho. I don't think he'll use all his armoury straight away.
Yeah, I have a similar sort of vibe, I think, to be honest with you, mate. I think I can see that confidence that United have got and that sort of, I think it's just contentment that's in the squad is going to carry us through the start of a game. I think United, and I'm hoping United are going to start quite well with it. Karl, do you want to give us your score prediction?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2-1. I think it'll be close, but I think we'll edge it just because going off the back of the form that we were in before the break. Do you know what I mean? And I think you got the same problem as we used to have, Ricky. You never knew what Mourinho was going to do, and he was always worried about how defensive you're going to be and parking the bus and letting teams have the ball. I think it could work. Not now, we've got a bit more creativity, but back in like a couple of months back before January, that would have worked against us. You know what I mean? Because we couldn't create anything. But now we've got options. We've got options midfield of Pogba, Bruno, etc. And even Fred's starting to pass the ball better now. So it's we've got a bit more creativity in there. But yeah, no, it could be a close one. I'm going to go with 2-1 us. Just because I'm not going to bet against us today.
I was too honest with my prediction.
Yeah, we've got a 1-1. We've got a 2-1. I'm going to be a bit clearer. I'm going to say I think United are in as form seems like the wrong word, but I think United are in good spirits coming into this. I think everything's kind of gone right for the club off the pitch. And I expect Marcus Rashford to put on an absolute fucking masterclass.
I'm glad you brought him up, chaps. Can I just say, even as a Tottenham fan from the outside, I mean, that guy, all the power to him. I think you've got to look at what's been going on in the last 2 or 3 months. I don't want to get into politics or whatever, but I think when you look from the outside, that it's taken a young man of 22 years old to do what he has done as a gesture. And for the government to U-turn it on the power of that man, I think it's incredible. And listen, he's seems like a lovely bloke. I don't wish him any luck in the world whatsoever for Friday night, but all the power to him. He seems like a really nice chap. And you can see he's got a good heart and good soul. So listen, no luck for Friday night to Marcus Rashford, but very decent individual.
Yeah, I'm going with Marcus Rashford to continue what he's been doing off the pitch in his day job of absolutely fucking banging the goals in for Manchester United. So that's my prediction. I'm going to go 3-0, and Marcus is going to get 2, and Bruno's going to get 1 with them stupid fucking penalties that he does. And United are taking 3 points back up north. But cheers for tuning in. Cheers to Ricky. Cheers to Karl. Cheers to you guys for tuning in. Make sure to like, give it a subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Laters. Thank you very much, lads.
Is that all right, mate? Okay.
Yeah.